Chapter 19. Professor Slocum laid aside a scale model of the Great Pyramid and leant back in his chair. "No," he said to himself, "it couldn't be. No, ludicrous. Although—" He rose from his desk and took himself over to the whiskey decanter. "No," he said once more, "out of the question." Partially filling an exquisite crystal tumbler, he pressed the prism top back onto the decanter's neck and sank into one of the leathern fireside chairs. Idly he turned the tumbler between thumb and forefinger, watching the reflected firelight as it danced and twinkled in the amber liquid. His eyelids became hooded and heavy, and his old head nodded gently upon his equally aged shoulders. It was evident the gaunt-faced figure who lurked in the darkness without the French windows, polluting the perfumed garden air with the acrid stench of creosote, that the old man was well set to take a quick 40 winks. Needless to say, this was far from being the case, and beneath the snowy lashes 2 glittering blue eyes watched as a flicker of movement closed by the great velvet curtains announced the arrival of a most unwelcome guest. It was a flicker of movement and nothing more, for again the room appeared empty, but for an elderly gentleman now snoring noisily inside a fireside chair. Professor Slocum watched as the silent figure delved amongst the crowded papers of his desk and ran its hands over the bindings of the precious books. The Syrian, convinced of his invisibility, went about his evil business with a will, but naught was missed by the professor, to whom the word hologram meant little more than electronic party trick. At length, however, he could stand the defilement of his property no longer. Rising suddenly from his sham repose, he addressed his uninvited visitor in no uncertain terms. "Replace my papers and get out of my study at once," said he, "or know the consequences of your boorish behaviour." The Syrian stiffened and turned a startled face towards the professor. He fingered the dials upon a small black box which hung at his belt. "You can tinker with that piece of junk until the sun goes dim, but I can assure you that it will not work upon me." The Syrian opened its cruel mouth and spoke in an accent which was unlike any other that the professor had ever heard. "Who are you?" he asked. Professor Slocum smiled wanly. "I am either your saviour or your nemesis." "I think not," said the Syrian. "If you are inclined to prolong your visit, might I offer you a drink?" the old man asked courteously. The Syrian laughed loudly. "Drink," said he. "Drink is the ruination of your species. Who do you think invented it for you in the first place?" The old man nodded thoughtfully. It would be better to keep that piece of intelligence from Pooley and O'Malley. They might feel inclined to change sides. "As you will," he said blandly. "May I inquire, then, why you have come here?" "I have come to kill you," said the Syrian, in such an offhand manner that it quite unsettled the professor's nerves. "You are proving an annoyance. You and the pink-eyed man beneath. We shall deal with him shortly." "That may not be so easy as you might believe." The Syrian turned up the palms of his hands. "You are old and decrepit. A single blow would cut the frail cord of your existence." "Appearances can sometimes be deceptive," said the professor. "I, for example, happen to be a master of Dimak, the deadliest form of martial art known to mankind. My hands and feet are registered with the local constabulary as deadly weapons. They can rip, maim, mutilate, disfigure and kill with little more than the application of a fingertip's pressure," said the Syrian. "I know. Who do you think invented Dimak in the first place?" "I find your conversation tending towards the repetitious. Kindly take your leave now. I have much to do." "Such as plotting the downfall of the Syrian Empire." "Amongst other things. I do have more important business." The man from Serres laughed in a hollow fashion. "You have great courage, old man," said he. "We of Serres hold courage and bravery above all other things." "I understand that you like a good fight." "Yes," said the professor, "although you do not always win. How's the armpit?" The Syrian clutched at his tender parts. "Shortly," he snarled, "your race will again know the might of Serres. They will feel the jackboot upon their necks. You, however, will not be here to witness it." I'm expecting to enjoy a long and happy retirement, said Professor Slocum, noting to his satisfaction and relief that Gammon had now entered the French windows, wielding an antique warming pan. I worry for you, though. Do not waste your concern. When the battle fleet arrives and the true masters of Earth once more set foot upon the planet, they will have none to spare for your puny race. Brave talk! And when might we expect this happy event? 2 days from now. It is a pity you will miss it. Oh, I won't miss it. I've a table booked at the Swan upon that evening. It is the darts tournament. We hold the challenge shield, you know. Of course I know. Who do you think invented darts? Are all your race such shameless liars? Enough talk. The Syrian pushed past the professor's desk and crossed the room to stand glaring eye to eye with the old man. I know not who or what you are, he said. Certainly you are unlike any human I have encountered hereabouts, although long ago I feel I have met such men as you. But for the present know only this, as a race you humans fear death, and you are staring yours in the face. Professor Slocum met the Syrian's blazing glare with a cold, unblinking stare. I like you not, he said mildly. It was my firm conviction that some compromise might have been reached between our peoples. I strongly disapprove of needless bloodshed, be the blood flowing from human veins or otherwise. There is yet time. If only you could persuade your race to reconsider. Be assured that if you go ahead with your plans, you will meet with certain defeat. It is folly to attack Earth. We have been awaiting you for years, and we are well prepared. With the corner up you have, sneered the Syrian. You cannot stand against our battle fleet. We will crush you into submission. Slaves you were, and slaves you shall yet become. Is there no compassion, then? No spark of what we call humanity? The Syrian curled his lip. None, he said. Then at least it makes my task a little easier. Prepare for death, said the man from Ceres. Strike the blighter down, said Professor Slocum. Gammon swung the antique warming pan with a will and struck the Syrian a mighty blow to the back of the head. A sharp, metallic clang announced the departure of a Syrian soul, bound for wherever those lads go to once departed from their unearthly bodies. He was surely lying about the darts, wasn't he, sir? Gammon asked. I sincerely hope so, the professor replied. They might have got a team up.